After replacing your stock spring with something just a little bit meatier, the DR650 can become a little bit of a pogo stick. In today's video, I'm going to fix that by taking out the stock shock and replacing it with one that has been revalved by Cogent Dynamics. The shock comes up and out the top of the bike, so the first thing that I need to do is take off the side panel, seat, and gas tank. And honestly, I'm a little under the weather today, so it just feels nice to be out in the sunshine a little bit. When you're taking stuff off, the best way that I have found to keep up with your nuts and bolts is to just put them back in the holes that they came out of. You're gonna get very good after a little while of taking off the side panels, the seat, and the gas tank. Whenever you're taking off your gas tank, check this air filter here and make sure it's in somewhat decent condition. Oh God, you can tell I'm sick. We have to take out this and our airbox. Our airbox is connected to our carburetor, so the first thing that we need to do is get this manifold. Guess that's what it is. I'll have to look up. I'll put the right name for this thing. But we need to disconnect this from the carburetor. This is going to slide out, and then we are going to remove our airbox too. With the tank off, we are also going to want to soak this bolt in blaster. Hit that with a shot and let that soak in. Alright, so now let's get this carb boot off. It's held on just by this C-clamp here. And you don't have to take this bolt out, you just got to get it loose. Same thing where it connects to the airbox. You can pull it off your airbox, and it should more or less pull out. You have to twist it a little bit. And there's a little screen right here too. Now we have a good view of our rear shock assembly, but we can't get in there just yet. We still have to get this airbox out. All right, so our airbox is held on by 3 bolts. One here, one here. 2. Remember, this one holds our carb air filter, and the last one is on the right side of the bike. Yeah, after being cooped up inside all day, this is actually nice to be out in the sun a little bit. It's already just trying to fall out on its own now, so I'm going to go to the other side and pull it out. Now there is one little tube right here, which is a little tricky to disconnect. If you pull it out like I did, you can get your fingers on it, so you can go ahead and halfway pull it out as opposed to trying to get pliers in there, if that makes any sense. Alright, so our rear shock assembly is only held on by 2 bolts. We have one on the bottom and one on the top, and that's all we have. And they're both hard to see, but they're both fairly easy to strip. So make sure you soak these previously and take your time when you're getting it off. It is really bloody tight. I haven't rounded it yet, but it's tight as hell. All right, let me do it with this one. There it goes. I would not recommend using a spanner on this. You're just going to strip it. Use at least a socket. Alright, I jacked up the bike a little bit to maybe get some pressure off of this thing. And then you can wiggle the front wheel up and down a little bit, and it'll pop on out. But both of these bolts can give you trouble if you're not careful. Now I can wiggle the top one out. There's not much room to get this top one out, so you gotta wiggle it again. And you got your whole wire harness right in here that you gotta have to watch out for. But it's loose. We got both bolts out. With both bolts out, and since we took our airbox out, we can just pull this thing relatively easily. You do have to twist it a little bit, but it just comes straight out. For the next bit, we're gonna use two of my favorite tools, and we'll start with this top one. Loosen it up. Get that loose. I can't tell if I actually moved it that time. I moved it that time. Just take your time with it. Here I have the new shock from Cogent Dynamics. So what this is one of these rebuilt and revalved and then powder coated. So you saw how I was fighting with the collar the whole time. They've also put a new collar system on there, which should be a lot better in the grand scheme of things. But you can definitely tell this is a reused collar. There's just a little bit of rust there and a little bit of rust right there. But the shaft and everything else looks beautiful, so. Yeah, you can tell this is a rebuilt shock and it's not a brand new shock, even though if you just looked at it from first eye, you wouldn't be able to tell. Like from first glance, they did a really good job. How this works basically is they send you a shock, you take off yours, you send them your old shock and you get a refund. Or you can also take yours off, send it to them and then pay less if you want to do it that way. Either way, however you want to cut it. All right, so let's put the spring back on the new one. And it's a little different. The first thing that goes on here, it comes with 2 washers and a bushing. And then it's slide over the top here. And they're already pre-greased, so you don't have to do anything. Now there is a way that this goes. I forget if it's the small side down or the big side down. I think it's small side down. Yeah, it's small side. Small side down. All right, so it quit raining enough for me to get this thing back on here. And I haven't tested out how this thing performs yet. I'm gonna really ride this thing out and I'll let y'all know. Oh gosh, this cold sucks. And there's a couple other little nice touches. They wrote DR650 on the hard anodization that they did. But I think I'm ready to get this thing back on the bike. When we put the bolts back in, we're going to apply some grease here, and then on the bolts themselves. Now I was looking in the manual. So 2 things. When you're removing the lower bolt, you're supposed to have the bike secured and the rear wheel barely touching the ground. So I should have done that. But putting it back in, it says tighten it to 40 foot-pounds of torque, both bolts, top and bottom. And it has a note right here that these can strip the threads. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to feel, and I'm going to tighten them as tight as I can get without stripping them. So be careful if you do tighten them to 40 foot-pounds. Make sure you don't strip anything.